In this video, we're predicting what could happen starting One Piece Manga chapter 987 and onwards. So, let's get to it. I'm actually thinking that Kanjuro might still be alive, even though it looks like he's been shivved by the scabbards. It wouldn't surprise me though, seeing how Oda rarely kills off a character. Pell, Igaram, Pound, the list goes on. Although if he does survive, I'm not 100% sure about his role then, because obviously he was loyal to Orochi, but since Orochi got betrayed, who would he trust and who would he side with, right? So anyway, King, Queen, and Jack are still on the second floor of Onigashima, and I'm a bit worried for Momonosuke, since the only ones that are possibly left there on the second floor are Izo and Kawamatsu. Unless Oda decides to have all the scabbards go down to the activity hall along with Kaido, which I doubt would happen, seeing how Momonosuke would be left defenseless and could be used as hostage. So it's possible, but I really doubt it would happen. But the three All-Stars against Izo and Kawamatsu might be too much to handle, so they would need some help, which might come in the form of Shinobu taking care of Momonosuke and Sanji coming to help. And speaking of Sanji, I really miss his antics. It's been so long since we've seen him, and if I recall correctly, it was when he was disappointed from his trip to the brothel. Maybe he'd failed to see any more hookers and stumble onto Yamato. Then it'll be all sorts of weird, since Yamato would like to be Oden, but Yamato was introduced as the daughter of Kaido, which makes it a bit confusing. Hopefully, Sanji's first meeting with Yamato goes well, especially now that Luffy has given her a nickname, which is Yamao. Other characters that I miss are Brooke and Frankie. I'm hoping they bust in the activity hall in a badass way, and Frankie goes, Super! I think it would be too rushed if Frankie and Brooke go straight for their matchups, so I'm expecting them to have some sort of role to play first. Something like delaying pursuers of Usopp and Chopper while they transport Momonosuke safely in the Brachio tank. Something like that. But then, thinking about it, they wouldn't be able to use the General Frankie if that happens. So I'm hoping for something else. Like freeing Momonosuke from the crucifix he's currently on. Since Shinobu was running away and Nami was thinking and hoping for Shinobu to find Momonosuke, then it would seem that Nami foreshadowed that Shinobu would take care of Momo. I still find the wording of Nami's thoughts to be very weird because it read as, at least you have to find him. Find Momonosuke. It could be a translation thing, but it makes me think she really didn't help during the fight against Big Mom, saved herself, and is now looking for Momonosuke. But anyway, with regard to Big Mom, I don't think she would be careless enough to let Nami and Carrot escape easily. So I feel like Jinbei and Robin might come to their rescue, but a full-on confrontation with Jinbei would probably stir up Big Mom, leaving Robin to deal with the homie army. Of course, the samurai hidden in Kaido's crew could help them out, but I doubt that any notable figures would help Robin against the homies, except maybe for Brook, since he's excellent with the chest piece keeper homies that boarded the Sunny back in Whole Cake Island. So yeah, maybe Brook. But Jinbei would have his hands full for a while, and really I'm not sure who among the allies would be able to deal with Big Mom. They would have to take Big Mom on as a group right now, especially since Kaido is falling down the activity hall along with at least 7 of the scabbards. So getting help won't be a problem, and once they start fighting, I'm sure the rebels would reveal themselves, cause confusion for a bit, and then it'll be a fight at full force. But the biggest question the last chapter raised is, will any of the scabbards manage to cut Kaido? I'm sure the scabbards have grown stronger from the 20 years that have passed, except maybe for Kinemon and Raizo, since they traveled through time. But really, would their growth match Kaido's growth? I'm really excited to see if the scabbards could prove Kaido wrong and actually cut him. I think if any of the scabbards could deal some damage to him, it would be Denjiro or Ashura Doji. Inuarashi and Nekomamushi were able to deal some damage to Jack back then, but they couldn't bring him down. So I'm assuming that they could do some damage too, unless Kaido is that far away from his all-stars. And as a dark horse, I would pick Kiku because she has this whole katana theme from the DC universe going on with her sword's powers. It would be great to see what powers the other scabbards have too. Kinemon could cut fire, Izo can shoot swords in half, Kiku's sword can deal damage to your soul, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi have electro, but they might have some unique techniques or powers too. And really, I'm excited to see them all in action. That's for sure. But moving on, Orochi, Samurai, and Oniwa Banshu could possibly defect in the middle of this whole thing and side with the Scabbards and its allies. I feel like it'd be because of Hyogoro and Denjiro. These two figures they would respect and and are probably comfortable with following instead of Kaido's influence. I highly doubt that Orochi would stay dead, and I feel like he'd be surprised himself that he's still alive because it's probably the first time his head was chopped off. And if he does survive his circumcision, I don't believe that his samurai or Oniwa Banshu would be willing to follow him. Well, except maybe for Fukurokuju. Still, I'm also glad to see a new face on Orochi's squad. Hotei, the ex-general in Orochi's samurai. I really did feel before that the number of notable characters were off, and that the Straw Hats and their allies had more notable people in their group, more so than Orochi and Kaido's. But now, since it seems that Kaido and Big Mom are officially working together, and no betrayals would seem to happen between them in the foreseeable future, um, the numbers swing back to Kaido and Big Mom's favor, considering Big Mom's ship might still arrive in time to serve as backup to the whole war in Onigashima. So, Pero might be bullish about coming out on top, but I doubt if Big Mom and Kaido would stay quiet about it if he ever decides to do anything unfavorable to the Yonko alliance. I'm also assuming that the Tobiropo would start to face off with the alliance, since they're looking for Yamato and would likely be headed for the activity hall, since most of them were told that Luffy and Yamato were seen there. So Ulti might end up fighting Yamato after all, instead of taking Chopper on. Which is a bit sad because I have hopes that Chopper would take on Ulti and learn haki while dealing with her. We still haven't seen anything on Sasaki, which would probably mean no one has found him yet. But anyway, I'm expecting more from Zoro, Law, and Kid on the next few chapters, and here's to hoping that we finally confirm that Zoro gets lost. It has been the one thing that I have been looking for in all of the chapters since the crew reacted to the news that Zoro took off to chase after Luffy. In my opinion, he hasn't dropped any badass lines yet, and I was assuming that he would continue his conversation with the headliners that were trying to convince him to join Kaido's crew and slash them up. But it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen anymore. Oh well, we move on to Kid, and I'm still wishing that he gets revenge on Apu, even for a little bit, before he fights someone else. And as for Law, I didn't think that he'd be fighting his way through. I actually thought that he would be sneaking around, but since we saw him and Beppo fighting, we might see where he's actually going to in the next few chapters. It would be very easy for Law to save Momonosuke, but I doubt that he'd be doing that because I think he would be occupying the attention of some of the All-Stars or someone that's very powerful and leaving the saving to the Straw Hats. Brook might have already scouted this out, and Brook and Frankie could be making an appearance real soon, leaving Usopp and Chopper to save the day by providing backup from the safety of the Brachio tank. I think that Frankie would eventually kick them out so he can unleash the General Frankie, but I think that might take a while before that happens. So anyway, that wraps up today's video. It's a very short one and I hope you enjoyed it. Crush like the same way that Sanji would crush on Yamato, and comment down below what you think Marco is doing right now. And if you love One Piece, subscribe to the channel because on the next video we're talking about the top 10 Zoan fruits in the One Piece world. So, as always, stay safe. Peace.